Hi folks, Mark here and welcome to another one of our Manawatu Musician Makers revision videos. And the idea of these videos is to help you supplement what you're learning in your classes with your tutor. And today we're going to be looking at the A minor pentatonic scale. It's the one that you've probably seen. It goes like this. Very simple and straightforward scale. And we're going to be looking at various aspects of this scale. We're going to be looking at its name, we're going to be looking at what we do with our picking hand, what we do with our fretting hand, and a little bit of how we're going to use this scale in some improvisation. So first things first, have a look down here. Here's the tab. You should know this scale off by heart, but if not, pause the video, have a little run through it, and come back when you're ready. Okay, so by now we should be able to play this scale. This scale is called an A minor pentatonic scale. There's three parts to the name, and all three parts are actually quite important to understand. The A part tells us what key we're playing in, basically whether we're playing in A or B or G. But also it tells us that we're playing an A minor key. Now the major and minor thing can be a bit tricky to understand at first, so maybe just think about, say, main course and dessert when you have a meal. If you're playing a minor scale when you should be playing a major scale, it can seem a little bit like putting ketchup on your ice cream. Some people may find that pleasing, but generally in music, when we play a minor scale when we should be playing a major scale, it doesn't sound so great. So A minor pentatonic, strange musical word. Pentagons have 5 sides, pentathlons have 5 events, and pentatonic scales have 5 notes. But wait a minute, we play 2 notes on each string. That's 12 notes. Okay, the answer to that question is really quite simple. What we do is we play through the notes more than once. So we go like this: A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, and then we run out of the guitar. So we play A, C, D, E, G, we go through it twice, couple more notes, and then we're done. Okay, so that's why it's a 5-note scale, but we play the notes more than once. Okay, right, so that's the basic scale. Let's talk about the right hand technique, the picking hand technique for those of you that are not right-handed. Okay, now when we're learning this scale, it's important to put it alongside a technique called alternating picking. Now alternating picking, quite simply, is playing 2 notes on 1 string. So we're going to play down and up. I'll try to make that a bit clearer. So we're going to play 2 notes on each string with a down and then an up on each string. On the next string, same again, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's called alternating picking, or sometimes it's called economy picking. And if you want to be able to play fast and fluently, alternating picking really is a skill that you need to get to grips with. It can seem a little bit tricky at first, but believe me, once you can do it, it's really worth it. Here's a little thing to think about. If you can play all your notes with your down pick like that, every time your hand goes in that direction, you've got to bring it back up again to pick another note, and it's a wasted movement. You're moving your hand up and doing nothing. If you pick a note on the way back up, you can play twice as many notes in the same time frame, which means you can actually play quite a bit quicker. Okay, so that's the picking hand, alternating picking, down, up, down, up, down, up on each string. This hand, the fretting hand, what we try to do with this hand is we use a technique called 1 finger per fret. Now if you look at my left hand, you'll see my first finger is on the 5th fret, my next finger, my second finger, is on the 6th fret, third finger is on the 7th fret on my pinky, is on the 8th fret. And when I play a note on the corresponding fret, I'm going to use the corresponding finger. So when I play notes on the 8th fret, that's my pinky's job to play those notes. All the notes that get played on the 5th fret will be played by my first finger. All the notes that get played on the 7th fret will get played by my 3rd finger, and in this scale your 2nd finger gets a rest because we don't play any notes on the 6th fret. So that means it looks like this. Remember that alternating picking as well with your picking hand. Now this can seem quite tricky at first. It seems like a big stretch, and yeah, it can be a big stretch. Just a couple of things to say about that. Your stretch will get better the more you practice. Some people have said to me, Mark, you must have bigger hands than me. Well, quite possibly, but I can stretch from there up to the 12th fret. So even if your hands were half the size of mine, I think you could probably manage to get to there. So it's just a question of using your hands more to do that stretch. And at first you may find that you have to take your hand off to get the right finger on, but over time that will come. Again, if you practice with the correct technique, you'll be able to play more fluently, and you'll be able to play with more speed when you get going. It may seem great to use your 2 favourite fingers right now, but that will slow you down as you get further into playing the guitar. Okay, so that's the fretting hand technique. Okay, so we've got one more thing to cover. We're going to look at a little bit about improvising. How do we use this scale? Improvising means basically making something up as we go along. It's not just used in music, it's used in normal English language as well. But today, in terms of music, what we're thinking of is making up a solo or a tune as we go along. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use the notes from this pentatonic scale. And if you think of them like the lines on a football field, as long as you stay within the lines when you're playing with the ball, then the ref can't do anything about it, you're in play. All of these notes that we've learnt here are notes that are in play. Continuing the football analogy, if you're the striker, of course, the best place for you to be playing will be where the action is up towards your opponent's goal. If you spent your whole time sitting back at your own goal, chatting with your goalkeeper, that wouldn't be the best place for you to be. So that kind of means sometimes there are better notes to play on particular chords and particular places, but every note that we're playing is totally valid. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick some notes from the pentatonic scale. So I'm going to start here on this note here. That's an A note. Then what I'm going to do is play that note, and then after that note I'm going to play 2 notes that are nearby it. So maybe these 2. So I get a 3-note pattern. What I don't want to do is be playing notes that are a long way apart, because then that can sound a bit like this, which is a bit weird unless that's the sound you're going for. So we play 3 notes, then maybe move to somewhere else and play 3 more, then maybe try 2 notes, then maybe 4 or 5, and then what we want to do is mix it up. So we play 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then 2 and 1. Just mix the notes up around like that. And then you can play around with your timing, play some of the notes as long notes, some of them as short, and put short gaps and long gaps. You'll get the idea. Now we've got a backing track that you can use, and I'm just going to give you a quick example and then we'll finish the video. So here we go. This is me improvising using an A minor pentatonic scale here, just at the 5th fret, to a backing track in the key of A minor. I'll see you next time.